Hey, Karen.
Oh, hi. Do I know you?
Oh, well, I guess you don't know me. I'm one of your YouTube subscribers and I like your videos, so it's nice to meet you.
Oh, how nice. Nice to meet you. Can I offer you some tea? It's chai.
Well, that's nice of you. Thank you. I have a question about your recent video. It was the one that you made where you were showing the difference between the defined and the undefined root center. But in every case, I didn't resonate because I have a defined root center and I'm super fast. I get things done right away. And that's what it didn't resonate with me, because you showed in each case the defined root just kind of moving at their pace, which was slower. Didn't make sense for me either. I'm super chill. You know, one day I'll get a real burst. Most of the time I just have a relaxed pace. Comes and goes, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about either. I mean, I will just sit and meditate for hours or concentrate. I didn't really get it what it was talking about. Pressure to do. If I can just sit still endlessly.
Can you explain that?
Ladies, human design is not about hearing something as a prescription. When I created the skit, it was just one possible scenario of how it can show up to have a defined versus an undefined root. What's most important is that you understand the mechanics behind why things work the way they work. So, for example, in the case of the undefined versus the defined centers, let's look at the mechanics. In human design, and everything that I'm saying is just for you to take in and see if it actually applies for you. So never take anything at face value. Human design is meant to be an experiment. So everything I heard from human design and why I know it in my body is because I tried it out and I saw it with people like you, and I saw the different examples, I saw the different energies and how they played out in real life, and that's how it made sense for me in reality. It's from a lived experience of the experiment.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Let's look at the defined versus undefined centers and how they work mechanically. Defined centers are any center that is colored in your chart. It means that you have a consistent flow of energy via a channel or maybe several channels that are creating the defined centers. Each center has kind of a song or a frequency and also certain themes, or in human design, one of the key words is keynotes. These are key words that describe things, and these keynotes really are meant to highlight the meaning of things so that you can kind of take them in as codes. So one of the keynotes for the root center is pressure to do. It's a pressure center where this adrenaline and fuel for doing comes in. So when I'm using these words, I'm saying keynotes, I'm saying adrenaline, I'm saying fuel, I'm saying pressure, I'm saying energy to do. It's also a motor center. So it propels you into action. So anyone with a defined root will have consistency around those topics: fuel, doing, pressure, adrenaline, how they process adrenaline. And anyone with an undefined center will be inconsistent on all of those themes. So they might have amplified pressure to do one day and no pressure to do another day. And they might be somewhere in the middle on another day. And it can vary week to week. It can vary day to day. It can vary hour to hour.
I really don't feel any pressure. I just feel joy.
Well, it's really interesting, my friend, that you're smoking marijuana, because I have noticed a lot of people with defined root centers dealing with this consistent pressure to do by smoking marijuana, because it's this fuel. So if you're not using it well, or you don't like the feeling of anxiety that all that pressure gives you, a great way to deal with that is by just smoking marijuana to dull the sensations. And no, I don't smoke because of anxiety or pressure to do. I just really resonate with the medicine. Conversely, sometimes people that don't dull it with marijuana, they end up being kind of frenetic doers all the time. And the pace of doing can really vary. I've seen people with a defined root that are super slow and steady, and other people that have a really fast pace of doing as their consistent pressure to do. But they might have like 4 hours of doing energy in the morning where they're just like going. And then their rhythm is to have a slower afternoon. And there's just whatever it is about their pressure to do and their fuel for doing, it just tends to be kind of consistent.
Oh, I see. So even though my pace is fast, it's consistently fast. And I do kind of have my rhythm about how I do things.
Yes, I can see there are many variations of how these mechanics could show up. You got it.
So you think I'm smoking to escape this ongoing pressure to do that I feel inside?
Yes. And you, my friend, have the channel 52.9, which means you really have this incredible ability to concentrate. It's called the channel of concentration. So that pressure to do is actually kind of paradoxically giving you enough pressure to sit still and focus for long periods of time. And so that can look like, in a way, not doing. But in fact, that pressure to do is being used to focus. So do you see what I'm saying? That there are many, many ways that these mechanics can play out. And that's why human design is an experiment. You learn the principle, you learn the keynotes, you learn the words, you see how they function, but then you see how it works for you in relationship to others in your life.
Now that you tell me to experiment, I'm going to really see how this works in my life with the people that I know.
And we're not really meant to just have someone tell it to us, but rather to discover it ourselves through experience and experimentation.
It's a good idea.
Like having a hypothesis and then testing it out. That's why it makes no sense when someone says a projector is meant to work for 2-3 hours a day. I mean, do they have a defined root? Do they have an undefined root? Do they have a willpower as a consistent mechanism? I mean, there's so much that's determined not only by the centers that are defined, but which channels you have.
So there's also other layers to it, like what channels you have and how they characterize the movement of energy from the defined centers.
Exactly. Like we saw with the channel of focus and concentration, that person's going to be much more able to sit still and concentrate than, say, someone else that has other things defined in their root. For example, another channel that could be in the root center is the channel of mutation, the 63. And that channel works in a pulse. In a way, it is consistently inconsistent. So it works in a pulse of mutation where it can be nothing, and then boom, a mutation, a change. And that format of energy where things move in a mutative pulse and this creative flow where it's like there might be a lot of stuckness and even melancholy, and the person doesn't know what's going to happen next, and they're in the void of the unknown. And then boom, the insight comes and they see the way forward. That's how that person's root energy for doing is going to work consistently. It's kind of like how I don't really resonate with her, but we all have a defined root center. Yes, there's infinite variations, infinite uniqueness, but with common themes woven together. That's amazing, guys. Thanks for listening. You know, it's just so satisfying to see you're really understanding more of a nuance and also how you can play with this information and really see it come alive in your lived daily reality by testing it out with your friends and family.
I'm going to look up everybody's chart.
I get it. All right, well, thanks for watching. Today, I really just wanted to harp on this idea of being in the experiment and understanding that it's mechanical. So once you understand some of the principles, then you can see how it actualizes in your lived experience. To me, all of this information is only useful insofar that you apply it and that it makes sense in your living and how you live, and it improves your life. So that's kind of what I love to talk about, what I love to experiment with, what I love to help my clients with when I do a reading is how are you going to apply this in your life? Let me know how that resonates for you in the comments below. I love reading your comments. Thank you so much for those of you that have been engaging with me. It makes it so much more fun. And I look forward to seeing you again here on my channel in the next video or podcast episode if you're listening on the podcast. Bye.
I don't have an addiction.